Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon here in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. You broadcasting live from our palatial second-story studio in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch. It gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce your host, my friend, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, bud. Thank you. Sammy, Instagram on. Yep, Instagram, we're turning you on right now. Welcome, everybody, to Grit and Good News. As you just heard, we are still in our single digits in terms of our shows. What number was it?
I did not do my full intro.
7. This is 7.
Number 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So our
October 8th.
October the 8th, 7th show. We are excited to be here. These get better as we get more used to it. Neither one of us are trained experts in this, but we
are experts at talking.
We are, yeah. Well, ain't that the truth? And we love our community, and we love this country, patriotic, and so we like sharing. We like hearing what other people think. So that's what Grit and Good News is about. So thank you for being here. We do have some sponsors we'll be talking about here shortly, but we want to get started today with. I don't want this to be about me, but many of you know that I'm a huge Alabama Crimson Tide fan. Matter of fact, that 18.
Do you think?
That 18 over my, there you go, Sammy, over my shoulder, that 18 represents how many national championships we've won in college football. So consider us a dynasty. However,
and it's just because you lived there a bunch of your formative years of your life.
I went to school in Alabama, and not at Alabama, but in Alabama, got married in Alabama, worked for two papers in Alabama. So it's in my blood, no doubt. Living in Tuscaloosa, you can't, it's hard to not be infected by what is the Alabama Crimson blood.
That's what you call the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah, no doubt. So we are big fans. I am big fans of Alabama. However, over the weekend, we lost to Vanderbilt, as many of you know. In case I didn't know it, my friends were quick to tell me about it, although I did watch the show, and I watched all of it, and I kept my sanity. I didn't get too riled up, too depressed. We just got beat, and that happens sometimes. The worst part of it is we're going to show you some clips here of what happened towards the end of the game. And Jeff and I are going to talk a little bit about what you see. Is it representative of what's going on in American society, particularly from our younger people who, let's face it, young people today have some serious pressure on them, I think.
So many people say they wouldn't want to raise a kid today, and I agree.
Ross is our youngest at 18, Sammy's 20. And
we did not call out. Sammy is our
producer and funny man extraordinaire, and does a great job for us. So,
sir,
Mai
Tai, before we get too deep on this conversation, did you hear exactly what happened when the Vanderbilt fans tore down the goalposts?
No, they marched one of the poles down Broadway.
Yeah, it was about a 2.5 mile march.
Yeah.
Downtown, and then they threw it in the river.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't know what goalposts go for these days.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, surprise. But anyway, back to the issue here. You're going to see some videos. Sammy's going to play them for you. Sammy, let me know when they're playing. They're playing now. So you see Malachi Moore, number 13. Malachi Moore is a fifth-year senior captain for the football team. He is an excellent football player, defensive back. Will go probably in the first round of the draft, if not certainly in the second of the draft in 2025. So by all measures, up until the other night, he's been labeled a great kid. But what you see there is Malachi Moore having a meltdown on national TV. Now, Malachi Moore is probably 21, 22 years old. And the question is, what? I mean, I've had meltdowns.
Maybe one last week.
Yeah, maybe one last week. But the question, and there's more than one video. You see him throwing his mouthpiece. You see him walk up and kick the football right out of the referee's, placing it on the ground. And in another clip, I don't know if we had that one, where he slams the other quarterback's helmet or head into the ground, which is pretty vicious. And so Malachi Moore, what his actions constitute the quintessential meltdown. He lost it. And so I started thinking about, Jeff and I started talking about whether or not that represents kind of what kind of pressures our young people are facing today, whether it be on a football field or whether it be in a classroom, whether it be at a job, whether it be at home. Uh,
We got
Son of Aragorn's, I wish NFL would force Haslam to sell the team. I can make a strong argument for it. He's talking about Cleveland Browns.
yeah. Let's
So
talk about Deshaun
yeah,
also,
so
so we can
Deshaun
because they
Watson,
kind of blend
yeah,
together.
so Deshaun Watson, recipient of the highest contract guaranteed in sports history at 200 and I think it was all guaranteed, 270 something million, something like that. So a quarterback, he's been through a lot, self-inflicted stuff. And while he was in Houston, they ended their relationship with him. He then gets signed by Cleveland at $278 million, I believe is the number. 100% of it is guaranteed. No other contract in any sport in this country, in the history of sports in this country. And as
You
you
talk
see,
about a gamble on a guy.
yeah, Gamble. I mean, he
Yeah,
hadn't played what for a couple of years.
yeah.
So now Cleveland is to Son of Aragorn, uh, related to his point. Cleveland's 1-4. The other day in a game, they're in a position to they got to win. So coach says we're going to go fourth and I think it was 15, 10, somewhere in the neighborhood. It wasn't a half inch, and so we're going to go for it. And Deshaun Watson, to everyone's disbelief, and if you heard the announcers, they're like, really? Can this be happening? Walked off the field.
That's a nice thank you for the loyalty that you've been given with that contract,
Yeah,
right?
off the field. So
Yeah.
it would be no different than if a person in business said, this may be a long shot, but we're gonna try this investment in the people that are gonna make it happen, just walk out. I mean, I don't get I don't get what Deshaun Watson was doing, nor do I get what Malachi Moore was doing, other than both of them were having what you can only call meltdowns. I'm $278 million guaranteed. This team gave me a chance. I don't want to go for it fourth in whatever it is. Could have been 30 yards, could have been 1/2 inch. It's unbelievable that he did that. And so that's the point here that thank you, Son of Aragorn, for that comment. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the end of it. Yeah. So Haslam, somebody needs to do something in Cleveland. The question will be with both of these players, and DeBoer, the coach at Alabama, has already come out and said, and Sammy has a clip of that, although it requires you to have to listen to it rather than just see it. Basically says Malachi's a great kid. He made a mistake. We're not suspending him. We're not cutting him. He's just going to carry on. That's a different reaction than I would have had. What would you have done?
Well, and part of what he also said was that um, after losing in January and in the tumult that was going on with our team and so many people leaving in the transfer portal, he stuck by us. He stayed with us, and he was kind of the glue that held things together. And so that was part of his deal. You know, I think a, a little slap on the hand would have been
And
certainly
what would
a pro.
if you were coach of the Crimson Tide and that was your position, what would a slap of the hand be?
Well, that's the hard thing to say because anything involving suspensions hurts your team.
It does.
Um,
Yeah, so you're going to make your team pay for
yeah.
for his meltdown, running a couple laps like we have to used to do in grade school.
Maybe what he did was force him to make a public apology because
Yeah,
he did make a public apology. So maybe
yeah.
behind the scenes that's what happened.
I'll admit, when I saw it, I'm like, cut him. I don't care if it's Tua. I don't care if it's Bo Jackson. I don't care who it is. Cut him. And then now I've kind of, as I listen to you and to others, I kind of chill out because I was having a meltdown over the meltdown.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to do that. The kid does deserve another chance. Now, if he does it again, he's got to go. But the question would be, it seems like to me, the price for both these players, Malachi Moore and Deshaun Watson, is the response from teammates.
Right. You know, when I saw this on a list of potential things to talk about, the one thing I thought to myself is I don't know how uncommon meltdowns are. I look at it, just our local history, just with the Cowboys. How many times did you see Des Bryant, marching up and down,
Yeah.
all pouty when he didn't get the ball? We've seen some of that out of CD Lamb. We used to see some of that out of the great Charles Haley,
Yeah.
and I think that was part of why San Francisco was willing to let him go to us, and it worked out to be a great thing. And he's turned out to be one of the greatest individuals in town, and he's loving and caring. And you know what? I think he got himself under control.
Well,
The
yeah. So I think of Des Bryant. Des Bryant's career was cut short, right?
right.
Not because of injury. So he's been out of football. I mean, he was hurt, but that isn't why his career ended. He. I would argue that teams say, this guy is he's dynamite,
He didn't end up signing until like November, and he went to New Orleans, and he got hurt in his first
and that
game or
was it.
first practice, or that was it.
Yeah,
It but from the leadership level down, the other thing that I made a note to myself is umpires going absolutely ballistic and getting in the face
yeah,
of the
yeah.
and that's been the norm for as
It
long as I've
has.
ever watched baseball, and those are the leaders of the team, you
Yeah,
know.
that's relative to baseball because you don't see that in football. You see some of it in
I'm seeing
basketball.
more of that in football.
Yeah, you see more. I guess you see more referees. I think that's why I wanted to talk about it as a dichotomy of society. Society is saying, okay, enough of that behavior. There are other ways to handle it. And so
Right.
Malachi Moore, my guess is if DeBoer handles it the way I'm praying he and hoping he handles it, it would be to sit down and say, dude, it'd be like me saying to Sammy, who may have lost it over this issue or that issue, you can't handle it that way. You've got to be a professional, although you're in college. You got to be a pro at everything you do, uh, and realize that one, it's impacting your teammates. Those pros in Cleveland, to Son of Aragon, something's got to happen. You're I'm not going to look at a quarterback who's being paid $278 million guaranteed and accept him walking off the field. No way. There would be a scuffle on the sidelines somehow, some way. Deshaun Watson, whether it's Haslam sells a team because they're perennial losers. Uh,
Is there a reason that they call that town the mistake on the lake?
Yeah, that's it. So Haslam has. I lived there for a while. Haslam is a clown. In some respects, he's like Jared Jones. But the whole point of this is, someone needs to be teaching our young people there are better ways to
Yeah.
handle the things that they're facing, and we see it on TikTok, we see it on YouTube, we see it on all sorts of platforms where meltdowns are happening everywhere. And I these kids need real
Yeah.
guidance.
Yeah. And there's no quick and easy answer how to change a whole so, societal idea,
Yeah,
and it's a norm now, and it's
yeah.
you know, you can
Well,
preach the gospel of love, you can do what you want, but there's just too many people who weren't raised right by their parents. I guess
yeah.
that's your bottom line.
I don't know
The
much about. I
parents,
don't know anything
you
about
know,
Malachi Moore's family or Deshaun Watson's.
we had a little poem the other week about crybabies,
Yeah,
and the essence is that um, is parents not saying no and needing to say no.
yeah. Tough love. Even when I practice that on Sammy, it goes over like a lead balloon. It doesn't mean I want to stop. Hint, hint. But it does it sometimes it's the most important thing needed. That's why I look at Malachi Moore and say, okay, that's a once in a lifetime episode, and to make sure it's once in a lifetime, handle it right.
Right,
Somebody needs to respond to that right.
right.
All right, so that's how we what we think of Malachi Moore and Deshaun Watson.
And I don't know about you, but my stomach is starting to grumble.
Are you hungry? Yeah. You're hungry for our sponsor,
I'm,
aren't you?
I,
Yeah, so we've got
I
two
thought
sponsors.
I was wondering when you're going
We've
to pick
got
up
two
where I was
sponsors
going. Yes.
of Grit and Good News. We are thrilled to tell you about them. One is Cancun's uh, American Tex-Mex food. Cancun's, my wife and I go to almost every week. It's out on 77, about 2.5 miles north of 287, just south of Butcher Road on the left if you're going north.
Right
Can't miss
short of
it.
the Atwoods.
Right, yeah, it's right in front of Atwoods,
Yeah.
frankly, and so it's just a wonderful restaurant right now. If you spend,
Atwoods, no charge for that shout out, by the
yeah,
way.
there you go. So, but Cancun's right now, between now and Election Day, which is November the 5th, if you spend $20 there, which I'm pretty sure you will, you get a free order of sopapillas straight out of the oven as your dessert. And as Jeff said last week, it's better to eat those suckers there at the restaurant because they they're still good when you get them home, but they turn into like chips because they
Yeah.
get hard.
So take a little of your dinner home and save room for the
Yeah,
sopapillas.
exactly. And sopapillas, man, those are the bomb. So between now and November the 5th, you get free sopapillas at Cancun's if you spend $20 or more on your food. So
You
go to
can't beat it with a stick.
Cancun's. Go to Cancun's. All right. Oh, by the way, we're also giving away booyah 2 tickets to the state fair today. So we will figure that out. We'll announce the winner. Uh, actually, since we can't see our camera on Instagram. There are a lot of folks watching on Instagram, so we'll have to choose the winner after and then let you know. So whoever wins these is going to be notified sometime this afternoon. I also want to tell you that Jeff and I are going to be giving away 2 more tickets on Thursday. And then for next week, because the fair ends October the 20th, we're going to be giving away we're going to give away tickets on Tuesday and Thursday, but one of those 2 days we'll have 4 tickets. So we'll give
Right.
a 4-pack away.
And they're good for any day of the show.
Yep, between now and the 20th, any day of the fair.
And we're actually making that decision based on the comments or phone
Comments
calls
and
that we
people
get.
that like. So be sure to like, comment,
And
share
the son of
your
Aragon
thoughts.
is currently in first place.
Yeah, although we can't see Instagram. Again, for those of you watching via Instagram, if you wanted us to see your comments and we can respond to them, you can go to Facebook and post your comments there because there's a glaring at us right here. Also, if you look above the pretty little buffalo elephant right there, you see our phone number as the call-in show. So you're welcome to call in and tell us what you think or what you don't like.
Sam, do you have a couple of them from Instagram up there?
Yes, there are people coming on the show. We can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did on YouTube. We had almost 900 views of our show from last week. So we're excited about that growth and look forward to it growing even more. Sammy, toss me your hat. So I want to show you this hat. We now have hats, Grit and Good News. You can see those. We have shirts that say Straight Talk for a Strong Community with our Grit and Good News logo on the sleeve. So we're very proud of these, and you can pick them up at this sign. Doing this on camera is about like a weatherman. You know how they have to do it backwards. But anyway, very nice hats done by Scooter Holland of 5 Star Printing in Ennis. Scooter does a great job. And that you're welcome, Scooter. So there you go, Sam. All right. So go to Cancun's, get you a free order of sopapillas if you spend $20 or more, and I'm sure you will. So thank you for that. All right.
Upward and onward.
Upward and onward. FEMA. What does FEMA stand for?
Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Very good.
Management.
Yes. And there are the key words. Federal, which makes you go, oh, no. Emergency, which we know there are emergencies happening right now in America, namely the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, and the impending massive destruction that is likely to come from Hurricane Milton tomorrow evening on the west coast in the Gulf of Mexico in Florida, aimed straight at Tampa. But right now it's a Category 5 hurricane. They may, I listened to the weather and they were talking about it may, when it gets closer to land or hits land, may go to a 4, but still 4 or 5, it's massive. So we know federal, not such a good label. Emergency, very important. Management to your your point, Jeff, is what this is all about. And so here we have Helene, we have Milton, we have FEMA, we have Harris, and we have a mess, frankly.
We could put another M in there and call it mismanagement.
Yeah, mismanagement or mania.
Mania.
So we have the points we want to share today and get your feedback would be FEMA used to be an agency, and it would make sense just by its name, would be sacred in a sense that insofar as that it's kept out, politics are kept out of it.
Right.
You can't play with people's lives. You cannot be in charge of FEMA at the highest level, which would be the president or the FEMA director, and be more concerned with politics than you are with people's lives. Yet, and maybe that's happened before when Katrina hit. There were games being played. I remember Bush was flying over and people criticized him for just looking at it from the sky, whatever. But in this case, FEMA is wrapped up neck deep, if you will, pardon the pun, because there's a lot of flooding going on in Carolina, but in politics, right?
Right. And in funding issues. Well, before we talk about funding, I've heard on so many comments from people there saying the only help we get is from the charitable organizations, the churches, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army. That's where our help is coming from. And we got nothing from FEMA, absolutely nothing. And so what baffles me is the word we keep hearing is FEMA doesn't have the money and that FEMA has spent the money in other places. And the Biden Harris administration is denying that. Now, in the world that we're all about fact check, can we not find a way to get to the answer of where billions have gone? Can we not find that out? What's so hard about
Yeah,
that?
the what do we call it? Mainstream media,
Yeah.
mass media, national media certainly has that. They have that. Not only can they do it, they have the obligation to do it. Just as if the city of Waxahachie or the county of Ellis was misspending money, I can tell you we would know about it one way or another. We'd know about it, and I'm sure the mass media knows about it, mainstream media knows about it, but isn't willing to put it out there. We know Harris the other night had an interview with the 60 Minutes, and
people.
that man, as we discussed earlier, I forget his name. I think his first name is Bill. Did a really good job. I mean, it's almost sad to say that doing the job of a journalist in today's mainstream media setting is characterized as doing a really, really good, kind of extraordinary job, when in fact that's the job.
I was shocked to hear it happening too.
Yeah, and so that's the point. That tells you how far the mainstream media has fallen. Whenever we see journalism done the way journalism is supposed to be done, we call that extraordinary anymore. It's not extraordinary. That's what the job is. And so he had an interview with Harris, and he pinned her down, on a number of issues. One of those issues was how why are we requiring if we're giving away as we now know $157 million to the people of Lebanon in the Middle East for the very same things that are needed in North Carolina, that is to say food, water, electricity, groceries, basic sustenance. I got it. That's what we're giving $157 million to in Lebanon, and that did not seek Harrison Biden did not seek Congress's approval for that, but yet are saying we've got to get approval to give money to the people in North Carolina. Something's wrong. You don't have to have a good nose to know something stinks, right?
Exactly. And haven't we also heard that a lot of that money went to the flying of the immigrants over here?
Yeah.
And so again, Where's the paper trails?
Yeah, their
Where
paper
are the
trails are
paper
there.
trails?
The paper trails are there. It's just that the media isn't requiring
But you
them.
know what? That shouldn't. The media, as we know, has gotten to be subjective and do what they want to do. But somebody needs to be able to come up with the answers. And, just because a lot of media won't
Yeah,
say it, not all of them won't. The thing is, even the Fox News, any of your more conservative people have not been able to say what has happened to this money. Where's
yeah,
the digger?
yeah,
Where's our watchdog?
yeah. Where is the watchdog? You're right. The watchdog really are those folks in Congress on the right who are running they have a name for it, but the watchdog committee that's the where is this stuff and let us see it. Well, I'll tell you something. We've got some comments here, but I'm going to tell you something in just a second. Hussar says when the basics become top notch, yeah, I mean we, we're screwed up whenever the equivalent of just breathing becomes an extraordinary feat
Right.
for somebody. That's the equivalent of journalism being practiced by people in journalism. That's what they should do. We don't call that extraordinary. That's what they should do. But sadly, with respect to 60 Minutes, we see a guy actually conduct the proper interview. We say, wow, he's doing an incredible job. When in fact, 30 years ago, we'd have just said, we wouldn't have even said anything other than, yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Scott Kerr, my man, that that Alabama book is not aging well.
Oh,
Oh,
he is fighting.
I'm
He is
dusting this.
fighting
No, no,
for
no,
those
no, no.
state fair tickets, and don't
Just
think that's your decision
yeah,
solely,
I
buddy.
don't know.
No, sir.
Yeah,
That's a group
that's a bit
decision.
painful, Scott. But
Sammy makes the
we'll be
tiebreaker.
back. We'll be in the playoffs. You mark my word. And then Sharon says the U.S. seems to always look outside its borders to help people in need while basically ignoring their own that supports and votes for them. Why? Do American citizens continue to stand for this? That's the question. Why do we reject being rejected? And it's almost like a boy and a girl in a relationship, and the boy is mistreating the girl. We want the girl to stand up, have self confidence, and say, "You aren't treating me that way," and vice versa. America, I think we as not all of us, but certainly a good bit of us have a self confidence problem in that we just allow these fools to run over us without us saying, "Time out. You're not going to treat me that way." Period.
And
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 so
it,
that
and it goes back to the related issue of why have we always thought we need to be the watchdog of the world and be involved in every conflict that goes on. I mean,
yeah.
some big ones were big. Vietnam's a classic one. People look back and they go, well, we should have never been there in the
Yeah,
first place.
I make the same
That's why
argument.
there was discord in this country.
I think highly of Jake Ellsey, our congressman in D.C. for District 10 here. I like him. I think he does a good
Mm.
job. He and I disagree about Ukraine. And so we're spending, I don't know if it's 200 billion in total so far, but we're to this little dude that comes over here and begs for money and that sort of thing. We got veterans that are living on the streets, committing suicide, and yet we're sending $200 billion to a war halfway across the world, not further than that. And to Sharon's point, what about we got it backwards? Let's see. I'm not saying we don't help Lebanon, but I am saying that 157 million ought to be going to North Carolina and to Florida, uh, just like the money that we're giving to Ukraine and other parts of the world to keep forces up. We got to take care of our vets, and you don't want to get me started on how
Yeah.
our vets are treated, because it is that in and of itself should be a crime the way they're treated.
And that reminds me of something I was thinking of a little bit ago about the Florida demographics. The Florida has always been where people go to retire. That state is full
Yeah,
of older people,
right.
and who's going to have a more difficult time than them in that in
Yeah,
the in the turbulence that's
yeah, no
coming up.
doubt. That's a great point. I mean, the people that Tampa is a metro city, but there's Sarasota is. I mean, all those little cities that are thought of as being retirement places are going to be impacted by Hurricane Milton. And so I just don't get it. I don't understand the mentality that says, as president, I'm going to give $157 million to Lebanon, but I'm going to give $750 per person, which I don't know what it comes to North Carolina. Matter of fact, I have a stat from I was going to share last week, but we have given away, in terms of Ukraine, we've given away the equivalent of $6,500 per Ukrainian citizen since the war began over there. The United States has given
Give me
enough
that number
money,
again.
$6,500 per capita, per person in Ukraine, yet we're giving $750 per person to the people in North Carolina. That is a
Yikes.
shame. It's
Yikes.
embarrassing. One last thing I want to say about Watchdog. We, I'm not a big fan of Brian Harrison, who's our state rep in Austin. That's a discussion for another show, and we'll have another show about it. But I'm not a big fan of Brian Harrison. I used to work in Washington, D.C., still have many friends that do. And I can tell you that there are things they tell me that about Brian Harrison that this community needs to know about. Well, a few years ago, we attempted to get some information, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, out of the agencies in Washington. And we're a little bitty paper down here in Texas, and they have a law. There are laws about you have to give that information up, but they don't honor that stuff. So when I think of us being a watchdog, we can get it here, and if we don't, we'll file suit with the Attorney General. But when it comes to finding out stuff about state congressperson, House of Representative, that used to work in Washington, for us to go to the national agencies, we're not gonna be able to get that information. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, it's dishonor. I say it's honor among thieves. People say dishonor among thieves. But anyway, enough of that. So our second sponsor
is Mr. Rooter. And most people know what Rooter often involves, but guess what? That's just part of what plumbing companies do. And we're happy to have Mr. Rooter as our sponsor. One thing that's unique about them is that they have customers all over North America, and they've been in business since 1970. But this is a locally owned office of it, so you've got the strength of a national company with local ownership. I don't know what combination you could have that would be better. And here's what you can depend on when you call Mr. Rooter. You're always going to get licensed experts. Okay, it's no guy in a truck in the sun or whatever. You're going to get insured plumbers. You're going to get guaranteed parts and workmanship. You're going to get courteous, uniformed professionals, and they're locally owned and operated, and so they operate differently. And you're going to get convenient appointment times. In addition, they're friendly and warm with every client. They're going to arrive on time. They're going to keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're going to provide you a price before you start. Hello. They're going to provide you a price before you start. They're going to deliver high quality, durable repairs, and they're going to stand behind their work. Peace of mind. Yes, stand behind their work. If something isn't right, they're going to make it right. That's what you want.
Yep.
Okay.
And their phone number?
And their phone number is 469 214 5179. That's 469 214 5179. And remember this, if you have a plumbing need today, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a plumbing need completely different down the road. And when you deal with them and you're happy with them, you know what you're going to do? You're going to call again to 469 214 5179. Our friends at Mr. Rooter.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rooter. Now you have a place to get your sopapillas and some great food and your plumbing needs taken care of. Both are basic staples of life.
We got you coming and going.
Well, yeah, we do. So anyway, right? It's right. I mean, it's he said. We don't have a she on the field right now, but we have two he's. So instead of he said, she said, it's he said, he said. Today we're going to just talk for a few minutes about what each of us just kind of if we were caught out in the world today and somebody said, okay, you like Waxahachie so much, what do you like? What do you like about it? So what do you like about it?
Let's just start with the one simple fact, and you heard it at the opening of the show. It's deep in the heart of Texas. Okay,
All right, best
let's
state
just
in
start
America.
right there.
Can we agree best state in America?
Best state in America, and you know what? You don't even have to go farther than that. But let's dig a little deeper. Okay, it is historic. Our courthouse. There's a picture of it on this little Waxahachie poem that I'll be doing later on. Our courthouse was completed in 1895. It's gorgeous. It sits in the middle of downtown. We have a gorgeous downtown. If we had a fault for our downtown, it's underutilized. Um, and the old expression that the shutters close at 5 o'clock. Other than the restaurants, that is kind of the situation in this town. There is one small exception, and that is second Thursdays of the month. They've got a woman's night out, and it does feature free wine. And I will say that this week on Thursday night I will be participating in it for my first time, not as a woman shopping, but signing my books at a nice little store called Sweet Peas Boutique.
Nice.
It's right across from the courthouse. But we've got a nice downtown.
Yes.
We've got beautiful homes, and not only beautiful historic homes in the more historic areas. We've got beautiful homes in all kind of areas. And you go out by the lake, and there's mansions out there. You go in a lot of places on the north end of town. But the thing is, and you did an article about that $20 million house,
10 million.
$10 million house.
10, 20 wasn't.
I mean, we got them at 10 million. We got homes at 5 and 4 million, and we've got homes at 1 and 2 million, and we got homes at 500,000, and we got homes at 250,000,
Yeah.
and we got homes at 150,000.
Yeah.
We got homes at every value, and in every one of those price ranges, I think you get more for your 150 here than you'll get any place. You get
No
more
doubt.
from your 500.
Yeah.
At every price range, you're getting a value home.
I agree.
And I'm short on criticisms. I've been in this town for 3.5 years, and I'm mostly singing the praises. But there's one other small thing that you may not think of, and that is this: we've got this small town feel in a growing community, and when you hop in your car and you go up 35 in 28 minutes, you're in downtown Dallas, one of the great cities of the world. So we're an extension of a big city, but we're a hometown of our own. I don't know that there's anything left for you to top that with, but I'm big on it, man. I'm big on it.
I think it's fair to say we both love our community. It's why we do so much to preserve it and to protect it, really protect it. Frankly, I think of the Waxahachie Sun in some ways as a figurative moat around Waxahachie. We're the alligator that's going to jump up and bite if someone tries to come in and do harm to our city. And believe me when I tell you, there are those wolves knocking at the door every single day, whether it's those who want to protest, whether it's sex traffickers, whether it's drugs, whether it's those who are interested in perpetrating crime. It's just all right there, and we want to protect it. Candy, thank you for responding. You love our downtown, so do I. Taylor Berry says, "Hey Jeff, it's Taylor. Love listening to this." Well, what about me?
Taylor, thanks for checking in.
Wait a minute. What about me? And then Husar says, I do too. Yeah, we love our community. And I've lived in many communities in America. Weird to say, I was born and raised in Dallas, but have lived all over. My two favorite communities ever are Waxahachie, Texas, and Buffalo, New York.
Scott points out that the courthouse has great tours. I was unaware of that.
Yeah, it does have tours. And so let me give you my list. First, I would say the people here are wonderful. Even those who may disagree with us, not so much those who responded to my column last week, But I'll say that no, I won't. We already hammered that out, right? But people here are just awesome. I think
They
they're
are
nice
awesome. Yeah.
people. We're faith-filled community, meaning there are somewhere between 93 and 100 churches just in Waxahachie, not including Nellis County, just in Waxahachie. So whatever faith you are, whatever denomination you are, whatever worship style you like, you can find it in Waxahachie. I think that's awesome. So having lived up north, Pittsburgh, DC, Cleveland, Akron, Buffalo, even Catholic is a big Minnesota. Catholics is predominant denomination up there, or whatever you want to call it. And so it's hard to find certain churches in the north. Down here, you can find what you want, but we are authentically faithful, faith-filled people. I will also tell you that we have a great downtown, as Jeff mentioned. We have a great downtown, and we will, as we grow even more, our downtown will start to open up in the evenings and that sort of thing. But between the courthouse, the Texas Theater,
Oh my gosh, that theater!
everywhere.
Oh, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, it is, and we got boutiques everywhere. We don't have men boutiques, but who's counting? But they're in the boutique in town. My wife doesn't like.
Right.
They're everywhere, and those women, those things you're talking about, those little, what do they call them? Trots through town, or trails, or walks, or whatever. There's always alcohol involved. I think
in this case, it's free alcohol.
well,
Hello.
yeah. So, well, the idea is get them
Can
a
you
little
beat that
tipsy.
price?
Get them a little tipsy. They're gonna buy a bunch of stuff.
That's why I'm
with
going to
you.
be signing books. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, our city has most everything you want, and if we don't have it, like a professional sports team or a super high 5-star ultra dining, whatever you want to call it, experience, 30 minutes to the north, right?
Mhm.
As you just said. So it's the perfect situation to be our own community with our own identity, 30 minutes from a metroplex, which most communities, suburban attached communities to a metroplex, are within 30 minutes. Sometimes they're 5 miles away, but because of traffic can take them an hour to get there. And
We're the McKinney of the South.
Yeah, we just get on I-35 and we're in Dallas.
Frisco
in no
of
time.
the South.
Yeah,
well,
when I traveled to Buffalo 3 weeks ago, and I always go out of love. I mean, Sammy took me. It's just simple. And so Waxahachie, for those of you who lived here all your life, you may be kind of comfortably numb to all the great things that Waxahachie has to offer. But let me tell you, it is an extraordinary place. And the traffic that we face on 77, the bottlenecks that we face, is a gnat on an elephant's back when it comes to what it's like in other cities where I lived in Pittsburgh. To get out of a mile, I could see where I was going. I could see the place I was going to, and it would still take me 45 minutes to get there because of incredible traffic downtown in a metroplex.
And it's really only at your traditional rush hours, which you have at every town. You could drive from here to Cancun's. You could drive there in 12 minutes. I guarantee it.
Easy. Easy. And
they are way on the north end of town.
I live
and that's getting yourself out of downtown.
Yeah, so I live not far from Cancun's. If I go home Brown Street, I bypass all the clutter, and it's very, very, very quick. So I just am here to say, anybody watching that doesn't live here, we welcome you to Waxahachie. It is a beautiful place. For those of you that do live here, stop for a second every day and give thanks to God for the wonderful community we call Waxahachie. Taylor Berry says, I do love that 77 runs through the whole town. To be honest, so much faster than most towns. That's exactly right. So it's just a wonderful community. So anything else about Waxahachie? And it's not Waxahachie.
It's such a nice town that I wrote a poem about it, believe it or not.
We're going to go to one of our segments. I think a lot of people are liking, called Rhyme Time. We don't spell it that way. We rhyme it with time, so we misspell rhyme. Why do we do that?
Our marketing guy did that. And you know what? I respected him so much on so many things that I just...
our marketing guy. I wonder if he's going to comment, because he knows who he is.
Yeah.
Rhyme. Is that me?
No, that's who's
okay.
But
okay,
we're not take up any more
all right, let's go.
What's that?
Oh.
Pink typewriter?
That's our rhyme time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a sign for rhyme time. All right, let's go.
So this was the second poem that I ever put in the Waxahachie Sun, and our good folks down at College Street Printing, I wanted to do something with it, and so I made it to where it's on a
Yeah.
5x7 and an 8x10, suitable for framing. Matter of fact,
Which you can do that for anybody that wants it, right?
yeah,
You can for a price.
for a price I can do anything. But I have these at a number of stores in town. Dove's Nest has it, and here's how it goes. Waxahachie is a name hard to pronounce, and on every syllable, a mistake will likely bounce. The wax is spoken walks if you say it right, but it's wax to the lax. They've no linguistic might. Hatchy rhymes with Apache, which has never been hard to say. But put it all together, folks simply lose their way. But errors are fine, even from the most refined, and we can tell real soon if you're singing our tune. It's a gingerbread town where good morals abound. It's a gingerbread city, her crepe myrtles oh so pretty. And if you butcher our name, we'll still love you just the
Same.
same. Thank you for getting that one.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very
good.
We love it.
Great
we love
poem.
It. Thank
You know, my college roommate who lives in Alabama, he's a big LSU fan. He's still one of my dearest buddies. Calls it Waxahachie. I don't even know how to say how bad he says it, but I tell him, Tim, Waxahachie. It's not that hard. Waxahachie. I don't even know where he gets how he says it. It's like he added 14 letters to it.
It is long.
Well, I know, but he added letters to it to make it more confusing.
I don't know, but I try to straighten people out.
It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with the new high school's name, because Waxahachie means Buffalo Creek.
Yeah.
The new high school is called Waxahachie Creek High School. It'll drop off. The Waxahachie will drop off. They'll call it Creek High School. But some people, when that was announced, they're saying, "Wait a minute, Waxahachie means Buffalo Creek." So really, we got Buffalo Creek High School. Yeah. So Creek High School. Be interesting to come up with the mascot.
Yes. Taylor, thank
Buffaloes.
you for compliment there,
I
too.
said Buffaloes.
Okay. Now, today, have you got today in history up?
Doug says you're welcome.
You're welcome.
About rhyme time.
Thank you.
All right. So now we move into our last segment of the day. We got 10 minutes.
We're going to need it all because we got to argue about the tickets
you're
going to and how you get.
Well, we may have to go because we got to look at Instagram people. We can't see them here. We may have to do this after.
Okay.
And then announce it that way on our Facebook page. But wait a minute.
Very good.
Last week, need I remind you, in Day in History, what was I?
You had a pretty good week.
I was 8-0. Yeah. Booyah.
This morning I went 6-3. Sammy, you've got the rules up there. Okay. And let's remember this. You do get the bonus if you get the year on the money. And we've got one opportunity in here today for a bonus on a fact. And here we go. Today in history.
Starting with the oldest to the newest.
Oldest to the newest. The Great Chicago Fire began. More than 300 people died and more than 17,000 structures were destroyed in a 3-day blaze. 17,000 structures, 3-day blaze, 300 people. It's a big old fire. When did it happen? 1970.
You know what? I'm trying to think of the song. The night Chicago died. I want to say 1909.
Well, it was in 1871, and you are 0-1, and I got it wrong too. And it's tough to. I got to 6-3 after going 0-1, and I know you're going to do well on this one. Don't disappoint me.
Okay.
Don Larson pitched the only perfect game in a World Series as the New York Yankees defeated. For a bonus, who did the
Cleveland
Yankees?
Or Pittsburgh?
Cleveland or Pittsburgh? No.
Oh.
That was the Brooklyn Dodgers. That must have been right. Well,
yeah.
I
you were about to give it away.
I don't know. When did the Dodgers move to L.A.? I don't know that.
I know what decade.
Okay. All right. So what year did Don Larson pitch the perfect game? 1952?
1956.
56.
Booyah.
Booyah. Booyah.
All right. I'm 1-1 plus a bonus. What do you say, Sharon? 1922. Loser.
Zar 1896.
Jeez, I'm
Get-
surprised he didn't say something
let's
when
get back
Abraham
to your
Lincoln
mark,
was in the
please.
war.
All
Yeah.
right.
He's stuck on the Civil War. He's a ghost from the Civil War.
Scientists reported that the Mars Pathfinder had yielded what could be the strongest evidence that Mars might once have been hospitable to life. The Mars Pathfinder. It's got to be.
I'm almost certain it was 1972.
Well, you're both wrong. It was 97.
Oh,
We weren't sending things
that
to
ain't
Mars.
right.
We were still working
Why
on
not?
the.
We were on the
We were
moon
still
in
working on the
69.
moon in 16 on the
Well, that's all
moonwalk in
right.
69.
3 years
Okay.
later,
All right.
that hurts.
I got it wrong.
Let's see. 1990. What? She's cheating. She knows she's got seven years.
I don't want
either
to say
way.
this every week. Quit beating up the girl that writes the
She
check. Okay? And sold the ads.
She knows she has to be within 7 years, so she picks a year to throw us off, to think we think that's legitimate. But she's Googling it. How would you know that?
Your conspiracy theories are too deep,
Dope.
and there's no
Okay.
trust.
1897.
1897.
Okay.
Thanks. He's just making fun of the game. That's all right. If you can't win, make fun.
Yeah.
A federal judge approved President George W. Bush's request to reopen West Coast ports, ending a 10-day labor strike that cost the U.S. economy an estimated $1 to $2 billion a year. So,
well, I mean, he served 2 terms. 2000. Well, I'm not going to tell Sammy because Sammy will.
What was last year?
1997. That's a good question to ask. It's a good strategy in this game.
2004.
2005.
2002.
So both of us win, but I should
Okay.
have gone for the bonus. What's Sharon say? 1999. What was the answer?
2002.
See, she's doing it again. Doug is saying I'm actually the ghost of horses past.
Of horses past.
I don't know what that means.
I got this wrong this morning. I'm terrible on
Sharon said she's the best.
earthquakes and volcanoes,
full
and
head
so
of
here we
hair.
got an earthquake, a
Okay.
magnitude 7.6 earthquake on the Pakistan-India border, killed an estimated 86,000 people. Ouch.
Sammy,
2011.
I'm going to say 13 is an unlucky number, so I'm going to say 2013.
2005. It's not in the 7-degree range.
That hurts. Sharon. And 2 and 3 with a bonus. How much does the bonus count for? Just an extra point?
1 point.
Okay.
1 point.
500. How many more we got?
We got 2 more. Here we go.
All right.
Authority in Michigan said 6 men have been charged with conspiring to kidnap Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer. That was not a bonus. In reaction to what they viewed as her uncontrolled power.
2019.
2020.
Gosh. Taylor Berry, what was that answer? 2005. What answer was that for?
I don't know.
Look at Sharon, 2016. That ain't right either.
2020, the year I put out my first book. 2020, hindsights. Thank you very much.
Plug. Shameless plug.
Yeah, I don't sell many books from this show, that's for sure. An
'Cause
explosion.
how many more books can I have of the same thing?
Well, you get them free. An explosion caused the partial collapse of a bridge linking the Crimean Peninsula with Russia, damaging an important supply artery for the Kremlin's war effort in southern Ukraine. This is the last one.
Well, you got to get it right. Yeah, I'd say 22.
Bonus.
Booyah.
Bonus.
Booyah. So I got 2 bonuses. So I finish 5 and 3.
I finished
What were you?
6 and 3.
All right, you got.
And I did that with only 1 bonus. I did that with raw facts.
Sharon got it right. No, well, she missed, but we shouldn't give that rule. Really and truly, the rule should be rewritten. I'll make a motion to rewrite those rules, because when you get to the last one, you can't help. Like in this case, you're going to be right no matter what.
Not necessarily, because
Well,
the one before that was 2020, so you could pick 21, 22,
I
or
know, but you're
23.
within 7.
Well, you're okay. Throw the dog a bone and give him a little bit of. Okay. Okay.
We got to tighten up this ship. We're giving away
Don't
stuff.
complicate this. We've been running this thing for years.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. I won't.
Okay.
So, all right. I'm gonna be like Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Never have a losing record.
Okay. Should we try something fun here since we have 6 minutes left?
Sure.
Let's do a reader vote for who they think had the best answer. And it
We
can't,
can't see them.
well, we're just going to have to, well, we don't have any Instagram comments.
Yes. Taylor says rewrite the rules. See.
Rewrite the rules. And any of the people who are on this list,
Oh, good one,
Taylor
Taylor.
can't vote,
Yeah.
Sharon can't vote, Czar can't vote.
Why can't Taylor vote?
Because she's eligible to win because she's made comment.
So
we're only, and then who's our son of whatever? He can't vote.
son
Son of Aragon.
And Steve Kerr, who
and
took a shot.
Steve Kerr.
Who took a very
He
cheap,
took a legit
dirty,
shot, and
painful, hurtful.
So all right, it starts right now. We're taking votes for anybody of these people who I just mentioned. You want to read them again? Son of Aragon,
Scott Kerr,
Kerr,
son of Aragon,
Sharon,
Taylor Berry, Candy Turner, Taylor Berry. Is that it? Let's see. Yeah. Taylor. Yep.
Okay.
All right. There are more people that
all right.
Don't be mad at me. He's the one that's cutting y'all out.
If we can get some votes this way, fine. Otherwise, we'll just decide it on our own and announce it next week. As
we'll see what people do here, and then we'll announce the winners after this afternoon. Samuel put up on our Facebook page the winners of 2 tickets to the fair, which I don't know how much these fair tickets cost, but they ain't cheap. It's like when we give away Screams tickets. You know what it costs to go to Screams out there? A head person, 60.
Cut it out. To get your knickers scared off. Wow.
$60. And so 2 tickets. We'll give away 2 more Thursday, and then we're going to give away a total of 6 next week. All right. So let me just say again, first of all, thank you all for being here. We are excited about our growth. We look forward to having you here every Tuesday and Thursday from noon until 1 o'clock. We again have our phone number up above the elephant. I need to name that. Well, it's Big Al. That's what we call our elephant in Bama. So you see the phone number. We don't always have to have calls. It doesn't matter to us, but thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And for those of you that watch this after, which a lot of you are doing, feel free to write at scott@waxahachieson.com. Have we gotten yours yet set up?
Yeah, I'm set up.
Is it Jeff or Jeffrey?
Just Jeff.
Jeff@waxahachieson.com. You can send either one of us comments, questions, feedback, whatever, and we'll be happy to read them on the air. We are looking forward to having guests in the future. We got election season. Well, it's election season already. We got Kamala, that 32 days. How many days? 32 days. And you know who was number 32? Who was she talking about? OJ? No, she was talking about Magic Johnson. Anyway, so we have about 30 days to go, and it'll be election day. So anyway, thank you to our sponsors, Cancun's, where you can get a free order of sopapillas between now and November the 5th once you spend $20 there. Cancun's is a wonderful restaurant north of the city, about 2.5 miles north of 287 on what would be, if you're going north and it's to the left, that's the west side.
Correct.
So look for Cancun's, and then our other sponsor,
Mr. Rooter.
So if you have plumbing needs, Mr. Rooter is the one to call. All right. So thank you for being here. With that, Jeffrey.
Remember, don't write a check that you can't cash.
That's right.